3.
Now, this isn't my first overland trip to Maine. I've journeyed north to the Pine Tree State twice before, in the summer and fall, with my good friends Rob and Jeremy. And each time, I've been fascinated by the power and beauty of the Penobscot River. So, this time, I'll attempt to follow the river and experience all of its glory. Only now, I'll do it alone. So I just arrived at Mount Agammentus Park. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's a beautiful spot. I'm glad that I found this location on Onyx Maps. When I was planning for this trip, I knew that I would need somewhere to stop and stretch my legs after 3 hours. And, you know, why do that at a highway rest stop when you can do it at a location like this, right? So speaking of planning for this trip, you might notice that I am flying solo on this adventure, and that was not part of the original plan. And there is a reason why. I'll explain that in a second. And there's going to be a few complications or challenges that come with being solo, and I'm going to explain that in a second as well. But right now, I'm going to explore this park because this is something else. What is the deal? Originally the plan was for my wife, Michelle, to join me on this trip up here to Maine. And we were gonna hit, some of the big spots that I was able to visit last summer during the first North Maine adventure that I went on with my friends, Rob and Jeremy. So we were gonna, kind of follow a route that was similar to that. But recently, she landed a pretty awesome new job, and I am extremely proud of her. She's been working so hard, and so she's got a brand new job, and it happens to start this week. So you can't exactly take a bunch of sick time off when you immediately begin a new job, right? At least it's probably frowned upon to do that. So she is reluctantly home right now, and I am up here enjoying the beautiful Pine Tree State. The main focus of this adventure is following the Penobscot River. So during my research that I've been doing over the past few months to prepare, during that research I came across something called the Penobscot Expedition. And we're gonna have ourselves our very own Penobscot Expedition. So I'm gonna take off now and get this party started. The Penobscot Expedition was a failed expedition that took place in 1779 when American naval ships sailed north from Boston Harbor into Penobscot Bay.
The goal was to reclaim the space from British control as they moved through the bay and up the river. Ironically, I'd soon learn that my own adventure would have a lot in common with that failed expedition.
So I just arrived at my first location within the Penobscot Bay, which is like my starting point for the Penobscot River. And it's the Breakwater Lighthouse. And there's a lot of people here. So I'm going to see what I can make of it, but I'm excited because I haven't seen this lighthouse before. Last time I was in Maine, we started with the Portland Head Lighthouse. So this time I'm going to start with a brand new lighthouse.
By the way, if you visit the Breakwater Lighthouse in Rockland, it's about a mile-long walk from the parking lot to the lighthouse itself, and you'll want to keep any small possessions tucked away. I kept doing the phone, wallet, keys pocket check all the way there.
That was incredible. Like, that was such a cool experience. What a unique lighthouse. I didn't even know breakwater lighthouses were a thing. But I spent way too long there. And I'm kind of pushing my limits with checking into camp at the campground. And yes, I know I'm using a campground. It's the first night of the trip. I'm alone. I'm treating this like a crawl, walk, run scenario. So yeah, I started with a campground.
Although I didn't plan on being alone for this adventure, there were still some preparations that were working in my favor. Reserving a campsite along the coast was perfect for my first night, and getting the truck tuned up with new power stop brakes and general tires gave me peace of mind.
Oh boy, new tires are on. I'm so excited. They're no different than the other ones, but they're new, and I'm happy with that. Just in time too, because we got to leave for our trip in about 3 days. So I'll see you when we get back. Okay, so I made it to camp. I am using, let's see the name of this place, the Agammentus campground. If you're interested, it's not too bad. There is a little bit of road noise, but there isn't a whole lot of options when it comes to like camping near the coast. With dispersed camping. I mean, there's plenty of campgrounds, but dispersed camping where you don't have to pay and you just hunt around in the woods and you land on your spot, like typical overland stuff, that doesn't exist really around the coastline. So one of the big challenges with the next 4 days of being alone is the fact that not only is it the longest that I've ever camped by myself, it is also the first time
I have ever camped by myself. So I'm easing myself in. The next 3 days, I am going to be in the North Maine woods, and I am going to be alone. Tomorrow night, I do plan on using a campsite that I am familiar with. It is a campsite that I've been to before, and it is along the Penobscot River. So like I said earlier, my goal with this trip is to start in the Penobscot Bay and follow the river up north into the North Maine woods. Yeah, I'm gonna get myself set up here at camp and have some food because I've hardly eaten today, lots of traveling. Maybe settle in so I can get up early.
All right, finally time to start cooking some dinner. Just kidding, I'm lazy.
Well, good morning, people. It is just after 6:30. I packed up at camp pretty fast this morning, and I am heading northeast up and around the Penobscot Bay towards the Penobscot Narrows Bridge, which is a pretty famous bridge here in Maine. I did, of course, have to stop at the local Dunkin' to get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. It's a very New Englander thing to do. So, I'm in Maine. It's one of those like when in Rome situations. But I'm also hoping to find a couple shipwrecks along my route today, so that's going to be pretty cool. So I found the shipwreck I've been looking for. Unfortunately, the tide is so high that you could barely see it. It's got a lot of growth, a lot of vegetation growing on top of it. It's probably been here for quite some time. There's no way for me to walk down from the road like I thought might be possible, so instead I just used this dock. But yeah, I guess from here I'm gonna drive north, head up to Millinocket, grab some gas and some food, and then we'll head into the North Woods and start following the Penobscot River. Well, after roughly 300 miles of travel through southern Maine, I have reached a familiar location. We are finally at the Golden Road. And I will be following the Golden Road for some time. I'm not going to complete the entire thing on this go-round, but there is a dam along the Penobscot River that I want to check out. And then there's a few different lakes that feed into various branches of the Penobscot that are along the Golden Road. So it just happens to work out that the Penobscot River and its various branches kind of run parallel to the Golden Road. And I've been here before, so this is a perfect location for solo camp number 2.
That was so cool. I just drove over that dam. That was like, it was a little sketchy, but all the signs on the dam itself say that it is perfectly fine to drive over, but that was awesome. That was really cool. I'm glad that I checked out this trail, but it is getting late. I still need to get to camp, so I'm gonna hop in the truck and hopefully we can get there before long. Holy moly. The water's coming like right up to the edge of this trail here. No way. Well, this is a bummer. This is a big bummer. I was so looking forward to this campsite. Back in October, I was standing on like a pile of rocks, like a mound, probably 50 yards out there. I'll probably put some footage on the screen right now. I can't believe how high the water level is. Big bummer. So I guess I'm about to play the find a campsite game.
I immediately got back in the truck and began referencing Onyx maps. I had already marked a Plan B campsite for this night, but I was really hoping I wouldn't have to use it, seeing as how it was 20 miles off of the Golden Road. Over the next hour, I made my way further down the Golden Road until I just so happened to come across a site I'd never seen before.
So I just drove past this sign that says Russell Bridge Campsite. I don't know anything about it, and it was not marked on X. But since I'm desperate in hunting around for camp, might as well check it out.
It turns out this location would be both a blessing and a curse, as this campsite would prove to be my undoing.
Well, I drove down that short trail right off the Golden Road. There's a nice flat clearing spot for the truck, fire pit, picnic table, and it's right next to the stream. So the very first thing I did was set up the gazelle tent, because there are so many horseflies and mosquitoes, it's ridiculous. I can't do anything without them biting me, just swarming my ankles, flying in my ears, all that fun stuff that bugs like to do, right? I didn't film setting up the iCamper because ain't nobody got time for that when all the bugs are trying to eat me. So yeah, I'm just gonna hide inside the gazelle gazebo right now, sweating bullets, if you can't tell. It is extremely hot. It's 6 o'clock and it's still 87 degrees out. Yeah, no fun. It's definitely going to be a fan, bring the fan up to the tent kind of night. So I'm going to rush to grab a bunch more stuff out of the back of the truck, set up my chair, hopefully set up something so that I can make some food. And then if I'm lucky, as the sun sets and the temperature cools, maybe there'll be a breeze and the bugs will dissipate. And yes, I am eating ramen noodles. So I've been learning a lot while I kind of go through this experience about camping alone. I had some reservations about camping alone before I even left, just because it's the first time I've ever done it. And, you know, your anxieties kind of creep into your head and you go through every like worst case scenario. But all that aside, when you arrive to camp and it is 400 degrees and you're being eaten alive by every bug that you can think of and you're alone, immediately it all feels pointless. At least if I was with my wife or if I was with my friends, we'd find a way to laugh it out and make the best of it, and you know, everyone's going to pitch in for the greater good and just make it worth it. But sitting here now, just kind of by myself, I kind of feel like I'm just counting the minutes, waiting until the sun goes down so I can just go to bed in the tent and hopefully start again tomorrow. So the motivation factor has definitely dropped, hence the ramen noodle. And yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Those are my 2 cents.
Not long after that, I decided to crawl up into the tent, where I proceeded to lie awake, sweating for the next several hours. And it was there that I made the unfortunate decision to call it quits and head home. This solo trip was unsuccessful for many reasons. Some obvious, like the challenges of being alone, and others not so obvious, like losing a bunch of my camera footage behind the scenes. Some of us really enjoy being alone, and up until this point, I would have put myself in that category. I enjoy my quiet and solitude times, but something about this trip just felt different. From the moment I left, I actually couldn't wait to get back home. And that's not the way these overland trips should feel. It's an unfortunate, yet useful learning experience. If you've seen my channel before, you know that I feel strongly that overlanding isn't about the journey or the destination, it's really about the company. And when I go on a trip like this, by myself, it kind of removes that most important piece. Of course, I plan to take another solo trip in the future in order to redeem myself. But for now, this will do just fine. Thanks for watching, everyone. Comment down below if you can relate to this experience, and I'll see you guys on the next adventure.